I am a 32-year-old software engineer engaged to the woman of my dreams, Amanda. We have been together for 3 years, and everything seemed perfect until I discovered her brother was Jackson, the guy who tormented me relentlessly through high school. The same Jackson who once made my teenage years a living nightmare now demands to be part of my wedding party. The worst part, Amanda and her family initially dismissed my concerns until an unexpected turn of events changed everything. If you are watching this video, drop a comment letting me know where you are tuning in from. Hit that like button and subscribe to hear how this family drama ultimately unfolded. Growing up, I was always that skinny, quiet kid who preferred coding on computers to playing sports. High school was supposed to be a time of self-discovery and making lifelong friendships. But for me, it became 4 years of constant torment, thanks to Jackson Thompson. The bullying started my freshman year when Jackson was a junior. At first, it was the usual stuff. He would knock my books out of my hands in the hallway, call me names like Computer Geek and Loser Leon, and make sure I had nowhere to sit at lunch. But as time went on, his tactics became more targeted and cruel. There was the time he stole my lunch money for an entire month, forcing me to go hungry or beg for scraps from the few acquaintances who took pity on me. Then there were the physical intimidations, shoving me into lockers when teachers were not looking or tripping me in the cafeteria so my food would spill everywhere while everyone laughed. The worst incident happened during junior year at the winter formal dance. I had finally worked up the courage to ask Sofia Martinez to be my date. To my surprise, she said yes. I spent weeks saving up for a decent suit, got a haircut, and even practiced dancing in my bedroom. The night started wonderfully, but during a slow dance, Jackson and his friends surrounded us on the dance floor. They had prepared cups of punch mixed with raw eggs and dumped them all over us while everyone watched. Sophia was humiliated, her dress ruined. She never spoke to me again, and the nickname Egghead followed me until graduation. These experiences destroyed my self-esteem and made me withdraw socially. I started skipping school to avoid Jackson, and my grades suffered. By the time I graduated, I was a shell of myself, distrustful of others, and convinced I would never fit in anywhere. After high school, I dedicated myself to rebuilding my life piece by piece. I went to therapy, which helped me process the trauma and develop coping mechanisms. I excelled in college far away from my hometown and found my community among other tech enthusiasts who appreciated my skills and personality. I landed a great job at a software company in Seattle and slowly regained my confidence. When I met Amanda at a tech conference in San Francisco 3 years ago, I was finally in a good place mentally. She was brilliant, kind, and beautiful, working as a UX designer for a competing company. We hit it off immediately, exchanging ideas about the future of user interface design that turned into drinks, then dinner, and eventually a long-distance relationship that became serious when she moved to Seattle. Throughout our relationship, I mentioned to Amanda that I had a rough time in high school, but I never went into specifics about the bullying. It was painful to recall, and I thought that part of my life was firmly behind me. We talked about our families casually, but since both of us had moved away from our hometowns, our relatives remained abstract concepts to each other. Everything changed 6 months into our relationship when Amanda mentioned her brother Jackson was coming to visit her in Seattle. She showed me a photo on her phone, and my blood ran cold. There he was, the face that had haunted my nightmares for years, slightly older but unmistakable. Jackson Thompson was my girlfriend's brother. I nearly dropped her phone in shock. Amanda asked what was wrong, and I mumbled something about thinking I recognized him from somewhere. My mind was racing, trying to process this cruel cosmic joke. What were the chances I spent the next week in turmoil debating whether to tell Amanda everything or hope that Jackson would not recognize me after all these years? The day Jackson arrived, Amanda insisted on having dinner together at her apartment. I arrived with my stomach in knots, palms sweaty as I knocked on her door. When she opened it there, he stood behind her, that familiar smirk playing on his lips. "Jackson, this is my boyfriend Leon," Amanda said cheerfully, completely unaware of the history between us. Jackson extended his hand, his expression revealing nothing. "Nice to meet you, Leon. Amanda has told me a lot about you." As we shook hands, I searched his eyes for any sign of recognition. There was a flicker of something, a momentary pause, but he maintained his poker face. Throughout dinner, he asked questions about my job, my hobbies, my background, all while expertly avoiding any mention of high school or our hometown. It was only when Amanda left to get dessert from the kitchen that he leaned forward, voice low. "I know exactly who you are, computer geek." Small world, huh? My heart raced. He did remember. Before I could respond, Amanda returned and Jackson smoothly transitioned to complimenting her cooking skills. The next day, I asked Jackson to meet me for coffee, determined to address the elephant in the room. At a corner table in a busy Starbucks, I confronted him directly. "Look, Jackson, I think we need to talk about what happened in high school." He laughed, stirring his coffee casually. "Ancient history, Leon. We were kids. I barely remember half that stuff." "You made my life miserable for 4 years," I insisted. "That is not something I can just forget." "Listen, man, it was just high school stuff. Everyone goes through it. I have moved on, and you should too, especially now that you are dating my sister." His tone turned slightly threatening. "It would really upset Amanda to hear about all this negative energy you are carrying." I left that meeting feeling frustrated and invalidated. Jackson clearly had no remorse, and worse, he was using my relationship with Amanda as leverage to prevent me from discussing our past. 2 months later, after Amanda and I moved in together, I proposed. She said yes, and we were both thrilled. Our engagement dinner with her parents was scheduled for the following weekend, and Jackson would be there too. During that dinner, after the champagne toast to our engagement, Jackson raised an additional glass. "And I cannot wait to stand beside my new brother on his big day as one of his groomsmen." The table fell silent as everyone looked at me expectantly. I had not asked Jackson to be in our wedding party, nor did I want to. But with Amanda and her parents watching, I forced a smile and mumbled something non-committal. Later that night, I tried to explain my feelings to Amanda. "I am not comfortable having Jackson as a groomsman. We do not exactly get along." "What do you mean, you barely know each other?" she replied, confused. "Actually, we do. Jackson was. He bullied me severely in high school. He was my tormentor for 4 years. Amanda's expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. "That cannot be right. Jackson never mentioned knowing you before. Of course he did not tell you. He pretended not to recognize me when we first met." She shook her head. "Leon, that was over a decade ago. People change. Jackson has always been a good brother to me. Whatever happened between you two as teenagers, can you not just let it go?" For me, her dismissal of my trauma felt like a knife to the heart. "You do not understand. What he did was not normal teenage teasing. It was systematic, cruel bullying that required therapy to overcome. I think you might be overreacting a little." "It cannot have been that bad," she said, her tone growing impatient. "He is going to be your brother-in-law. You need to make peace with him." As the wedding planning progressed, Jackson inserted himself into every decision, always finding ways to undermine me. During family dinners, he would reminisce about high school, telling stories that painted me as pathetic while framing himself as some kind of mentor. "Remember when you tried to dance with that girl at formal Leon, man, you had 2 left feet?" He would say conveniently, leaving out the part where he humiliated both of us with the egg incident. Amanda's parents quickly took Jackson's side. Her father pulled me aside one evening. "Every family has its tensions, son, but Jackson is Amanda's only brother. Having him in your wedding party would mean the world to her and to us." I felt increasingly trapped and isolated. The people who were supposed to become my new family were pressuring me to include my abuser in one of the most important days of my life. Things escalated when Jackson started reverting to his high school behavior when no one else was around. He would accidentally spill drinks on me at family gatherings, call me by my old high school nicknames when passing me in the hallway, or make threatening comments disguised as jokes. "Better make sure I am a groomsman egghead, or things might get uncomfortable for everyone," he whispered during a family barbecue, while maintaining a friendly smile for anyone who might be watching. My anxiety grew worse with each interaction. I started avoiding family gatherings when possible, making excuses about work deadlines. Amanda noticed my withdrawal and accused me of not making an effort with her family. Desperate for perspective, I detailed everything in a lengthy Reddit post asking for advice. I poured out years of pain, the current situation with my fiancé and future in-laws, and my growing uncertainty about the wedding itself. The engagement party became the breaking point in our increasingly strained relationship. Amanda's parents had rented out a private room at an upscale restaurant, and about 50 friends and family members attended. Throughout the evening, Jackson played the role of doting brother, perfectly charming everyone with his wit and apparent affection for his sister. When it came time for toasts, Jackson tapped his glass and stood. I have known my sister her entire life, and Leon. He paused dramatically. Well, Leon and I go way back too. My stomach tightened as he continued. In fact, Leon and I shared some formative experiences in high school. I like to think I helped shape him into the man he is today. Quiet laughter rippled through the crowd as Jackson smirked. There was this one dance where Leon made quite the impression on everyone. You could say he came out of his shell that night, right, buddy? The reference to the egg incident was clear to me, though cleverly disguised as friendly reminiscence to everyone else. I felt my chest constricting, my breathing becoming shallow. To Leon and Amanda, Jackson concluded, "May their marriage be as unforgettable as those high school days." I excused myself immediately after the toast, barely making it to the bathroom before the panic attack hit full force. Leaning against the sink, I struggled to breathe, memories of humiliation washing over me in waves. This was supposed to be one of the happiest times of my life. Yet here I was, trembling in a bathroom because my high school bully had wormed his way back into my life. When I returned to the party, Amanda pulled me aside, her expression tense. "What is wrong with you? You completely disappeared after Jackson's sweet toast." "Sweet? Did you not hear what he was really saying?" I countered, my voice low but intense. "He was referencing specific bullying incidents, Amanda. He was mocking me in front of everyone." She rolled her eyes. "You are being paranoid. He was being nice, Leon. Why are you so determined to see the worst in him? Because I know him better than you think I do. This has gone too far," Amanda hissed. "I cannot believe you are trying to create family drama before our wedding. I have tried to be understanding, but you need to grow up and get over this high school vendetta." The argument escalated when we got home, culminating in an ultimatum I never expected to hear from the woman I loved. "I am only going to say this once," Amanda said, her voice cold. "Either Jackson is in the wedding as a groomsman, or there will not be a wedding. He is my brother, and he will be part of my special day. Period." I stared at her in disbelief. "You would call off our marriage over this? After everything I have told you about what he did to me, you are blowing ancient history way out of proportion. I will not let your grudge ruin our future together." That night, I packed a bag and went to stay with my friend Dave. I needed space to think, to decide if I could really marry someone who dismissed my trauma so easily. Dave listened as I recounted everything, offering the support and validation I had been desperately seeking from Amanda and her family. "Your feelings are legitimate, man," he assured me. "No one should have to include their bully in their wedding, brother-in-law or not." Meanwhile, my Reddit post had exploded overnight. Thousands of comments poured in, most supporting my position and sharing similar experiences. Many urged me to reconsider the relationship, entirely pointing out the red flags in how Amanda and her family had handled the situation. After 3 days apart and countless hours reflecting, I made my decision. I would not have Jackson in my wedding party, even if it meant losing Amanda. Some boundaries were worth protecting, and I had spent too many years rebuilding myself to compromise on this fundamental issue of respect and validation. I called Amanda to arrange a meeting, planning to give back her ring if necessary. To my surprise, she asked me to come to her parents' house instead of our apartment. "Everyone wants to talk to you," she said, her voice uncharacteristically subdued. I arrived at her parents' home with a sense of dread, expecting an intervention of sorts where they would all pressure me one final time to accept Jackson. Instead, I found Amanda and her parents sitting in the living room, their expressions solemn. Leon, Amanda's father, began as soon as I sat down. "We owe you an apology." Confused, I looked between them. Amanda's eyes were red from crying, and her mother could barely meet my gaze. "We read your Reddit post," Amanda explained quietly. All of us did. I never realized. I had no idea the extent of what Jackson did to you. You wrote about the things he did in detail, her mother added. The lunch money, the physical intimidation, that awful dance incident. Jackson never told us any of this. Amanda reached for my hand. I am so sorry I did not believe you. I should have trusted your experience, instead of dismissing it because he is my brother. As this revelation sank and the front door opened and Jackson walked in looking annoyed. What is this family meeting about? And why is he here? He nodded dismissively in my direction. Amanda's father stood up, his expression thunderous. Sit down, Jackson. We need to talk about your high school days with Leon. Jackson's face paled slightly. What are you talking about? We read Leon's Reddit post. We know everything you did to him. Amanda's voice was steady now, anger replacing her earlier remorse. How could you do those things to another person, and then pretend nothing happened when he started dating me? It was just typical high school stuff, Jackson stammered, using the same dismissive line he had given me. Everyone goes through it. No. Her father cut in sharply. What you did was not normal. It was cruel, calculated bullying. And then you had the audacity to demand a place in his wedding. Jackson tried to laugh it off. Come on, it was years ago. Leon is clearly exaggerating for attention. Stop lying, Amanda's mother interjected. The post was detailed and specific, and your behavior, since he came into our lives, makes perfect sense now. Those little comments, the inside jokes at his expense. You have been continuing the bullying in subtle ways. Jackson's demeanor shifted from dismissive to defensive. So what if I was rough on him in high school? He was a nerd, a nobody. Now he thinks he is good enough for my sister. The room fell silent at this unmasking of his true feelings. Amanda stood up, tears streaming down her face. You disgust me. All this time I defended you, made excuses for you. I almost lost the man I love because of your petty cruelty. Her father stepped forward, pointing at the door. You have a choice to make right now, son. Either you sincerely apologize to Leon and get professional help for your behavior, or you can consider yourself no longer welcome in this family. I will not have a bully for a son. You would choose him over your own blood, Jackson sputtered in disbelief. This is not about choosing sides. This is about basic human decency, her father replied. Something you seem to lack entirely. Cornered Jackson turned to me with a cold stare. Fine. I am sorry for what happened in high school. Happy now? That is not even close to a real apology, Amanda said. Get out, Jackson. Do not come back until you are ready to take responsibility for your actions and make genuine amends. With a string of curses, Jackson stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The house fell silent again, the aftermath of confrontation hanging heavy in the air. After Jackson left, the four of us sat in the living room processing what had just happened. My emotions were a complicated mixture of vindication and lingering hurt relief and uncertainty. I do not know what to say. I finally broke the silence. I never expected any of this. Amanda moved to sit beside me on the couch, taking my hand in hers. I should have believed you from the beginning. There is no excuse for how I dismissed your experiences. Her tears fell freely now. Can you ever forgive me? Her parents echoed similar sentiments. We welcome Jackson's version of events without question, her father admitted. We failed you as your future family. And for that, I am truly sorry. Jackson will not be welcome at family gatherings until he demonstrates real change, her mother added firmly. And he certainly will not be in your wedding. Despite their support now, I still felt uncertain about moving forward. The damage had been done, trust broken in ways I was not sure could be repaired. I appreciate your apologies, I said carefully, but I need time to think about everything. Amanda, you were willing to end our engagement over this just days ago. She nodded, acknowledging the gravity of her actions. I know. I was wrong. Terribly wrong. If you need space, I understand. But I want you to know, I am committed to making this right, if you will give me the chance. I decided to stay at Dave's place for another week, using the time to sort through my feelings. Amanda and I agreed to start couples therapy to rebuild our trust and communication. Our first session was difficult but productive, addressing not just the situation with Jackson, but the deeper issues it had revealed in our relationship. I realized I never truly opened up to you about my past, I admitted during one session. I kept those painful experiences buried, which made it easier for you to dismiss them when they finally came to light. And I prioritized family loyalty over empathy and understanding, Amanda acknowledged. I need to be a better listener and validate your feelings, even when they involve people I care about. As weeks passed, we slowly rebuilt our connection. We decided to proceed with the wedding, but made significant changes to our plans. The guest list was cut in half, and the ceremony was redesigned to be more intimate and meaningful to us without Jackson's involvement. I also joined a support group for adult survivors of bullying, which helped me process lingering feelings from both the high school trauma and the recent confrontation. Sharing with others who understood my experiences was incredibly healing. One day before the wedding, an unexpected letter arrived addressed to me. I recognized Jackson's handwriting immediately. For several minutes, I just held the envelope, unsure whether to open it or throw it away. Finally, curiosity won out. Inside was a 3-page letter that, to my surprise, contained what seemed to be a more genuine apology. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," Jackson wrote. "I started seeing a therapist after our confrontation, not just because my family demanded it, but because their reactions made me realize something might actually be wrong with my behavior. I never considered myself a bully, just a guy having fun at others' expense. The therapist helped me see how destructive that mindset is. What I did to you in high school was inexcusable. The egg incident in particular haunts me now that I can see it through adult eyes. I understand why you did not want me at your wedding, and I respect that decision. I do not expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know that I am working on becoming someone better." The letter did not change my decision to exclude him from the wedding, but it did provide some closure. I decided not to respond immediately, focusing instead on the celebration ahead. Our wedding day arrived beautiful in its simplicity. With 50 of our closest friends and supportive family members, Amanda and I exchanged vows in a garden ceremony that felt true to us. Her parents were supportive and respectful, throughout having proven their commitment to change in the months leading up to the wedding. During our first dance, Amanda whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on us." "Thank you for finally seeing me," I replied, holding her close. That night, surrounded by people who genuinely supported and valued us, I reflected on the unexpected journey that had brought us here. What began as a painful collision of past and present had forced important truths into the light, ultimately strengthening our relationship in ways I could not have anticipated. In the years since, Jackson and I have established a cautious, distant civility. He continues his therapy. And while we will never be close friends, the acute pain of our history has gradually dulled. Amanda and I maintain clear boundaries with him, which her parents respect and enforce. The most profound lesson I learned through all of this was the importance of standing up for yourself even when it is difficult, even when it might cost you something you value. For years, I had carried the shame and hurt of being bullied, allowing it to define parts of me in invisible ways. By finally confronting that history and demanding acknowledgement of my experiences, I reclaimed power I did not know I had lost. True family, I discovered, is not defined by blood or legal ties, but by respect, empathy, and the willingness to protect each other from harm rather than enabling toxic behavior. Amanda and her parents proved themselves to be my real family when they chose to believe my truth and hold Jackson accountable, even though it was painful for all involved. Have you ever had to confront someone from your past who hurt you? How did you handle it? Drop your stories in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences like this one. And do not forget to share with someone who might be struggling to set boundaries with toxic family members. Remember, standing up for yourself is not selfish. It is necessary for healing. Thank you for listening, and I wish you strength and courage on your own journey.